So have you ever heard of juice jacking? What is juice jacking? Ultimately, it's when USBs are compromised. Scary thing about this is that this can happen absolutely anywhere. You could be in an airport, you could be at a shopping center mall, you could be in any public place, and you could be the victim of juice jacking. The key message that we'll talk about is that public USB ports, public USB cables that may just be out there in the open may not actually be harmless. They may not actually be safe. You need to make sure that you see the signs before you get impacted. Hey everyone, my name is Emilio. We love macOS security on this channel. If you want to follow along and that way you can keep your Mac safer for longer, why don't you click on the subscription button, click on the bell, and that way you are notified when new videos are releasing on all things macOS security. We also run some great software that we'll talk a little bit about later called Moonlock. Ultimately, Moonlock allows you to scan your entire Mac and make sure that your Mac is free from malware, viruses, keeping your Mac safer for longer. It runs silently in the background. If something malicious should come into your Mac, it grabs it, it quarantines it, and it protects you from losing data and causing harm on your Mac. You can go and pick up Moonlock and try it completely for free for 7 days. Go and grab it. We've got a link to it down below of this video description. And if you love it, we've got a YouTube 10 code that you can add, like a coupon code, so that you can get yourself a 10% discount. So what are we talking about when we're talking about juice jacking? We're saying that there is a compromised USB port. You know, when you're in a public spot, right? You're at an airport and there are complimentary USB charging pods available. All right, you can sit down for lunch and there's a whole row of USB ports that you can just plug your phone, your computer into to get you some juice to charge up the battery on your device. How do you know that they are actually safe? These USB ports, these USB cables that may just be available for you to try may actually be compromised, and there may be something malicious on the other end. As you know, USB cables are used for many things nowadays, especially with USB-C. They're used for power, you can get power to your device, but they're also used for transferring of data. How do you do a backup of your phone to your computer? Well, it's through a USB cable to back up all of your data. It's used for syncing your devices and communicating directly with a computer. So that means that plugging into an unknown USB port could expose your device to more than just power. It could allow attempts from that device accessing your device information and potentially installing malware. And what devices are affected? Well, your smart devices, your phones, both your Apple, Android, and other brands of phones as well, but also your computers. Your Mac computer is susceptible to this attack. Let's say you are traveling and you left your power adapter at home. You can't charge your Mac. Hey, look, there's a charging pod available for me to use. I can just plug my Mac in to get some power. Look, the reality is though, juice jacking is not something that you need to be concerned about all the time. I'm gonna say majority of the time that you are plugging devices into these charging pods, you're gonna be okay. Right? Because often they have been placed there by trusted sources. If you're in an airport, it's likely that the airport knows what they're doing and they've plugged things in. But there could also be malicious people that have installed these devices. And what's happening is on the other end of that USB port, it could be connected to a computer, to a little device, to a little Raspberry Pi, whatever it may be. So then when you plug that in, you plug your Mac in, your phone in, you're not just getting a power source, but you're actually getting power, but also it's connected to a computer on the other end that can cause harm to that computer of yours. So what are cyber criminals actually trying to achieve when doing this? They're gonna be trying one of three things: data theft, malware installation, and account compromise. With data theft, they may try to access your files, your photos, your contacts, your messages, stored information on your device. With the malware installation, as the name suggests, they're going to try to install malicious code, malicious software apps onto your device. And then account compromise, where your computer is now compromised. It would ultimately be through the malware, but it could also be directly to that device, accessing your login details, your sessions, your credentials. So how do you know if you have been juice jacked? You know, it can be hard to detect this thing. You may not actually know that it has happened, but here are some of the signs to look out for. When you've plugged in a phone, does your phone now say, trust this computer? Hey, that's a little bit odd. I'm just getting power from this USB port. Why is it saying trust this computer? You know, when you grab your iPhone and you plug it into your computer, a little message shows up asking you, do you want to trust this computer? Because it needs to form a trust, a relationship between the phone and the computer. If that's coming up, it could be a sign that there's something actually not just power on the other end. Files just start to download unexpectedly, or there's new apps that actually just appear on your computer. They just appear on that desktop, on your application spot in your Finder. Your device starts to just get really, really hot. Your battery starts to drain a lot faster than it used to. All of a sudden, there's all these new browser pop-ups that are just coming up. Or when you're on your browser, it just redirects you to a website that is not the website that you've set as your homepage. So how do you protect yourself from this actually happening? If you have the ability, use a wall outlet instead of a public USB port. This essentially avoids trusting any sort of unknown USB data connection. You know, always when I'm traveling or if I'm carrying a backpack or a bag somewhere with me, I'm gonna always try to have a power bank, right? And this could be just a power bank where you plug a USB port into it and on the other end onto your phone, or one of those that just sort of clip onto the back of your phone using that wireless Qi charging. They're great options for you to make sure that you've always got power available. Where you can use your own cable, because juice jacking is not just the USB port itself being compromised, but it can also be the cable itself being compromised. The cables are getting smarter and smarter, and bad people have actually developed cables that are compromised. And then ultimately, keep your devices up to date. Keep your laptop, your phone up to date with the latest updates for applications and also for the operating system. In our case, Mac OS or iOS or your iPad OS. So what do you do if you have been a victim of juice jacking? Well, first and foremost, disconnect immediately. If you've plugged something in and you've seen any suspicious signs, disconnect that cable and do not approve any prompts. If you have been compromised, sometimes there's a process that has started running in the background. Restarting or disconnecting from the internet straight away may actually stop that activity from actually executing. On your phone, on your iPad, on your Mac, go in and check if there are any unknown applications. There may be a malicious application now there that wasn't there before. Check any other profiles, check any other permissions. If there's anything there that looks suspicious, you want to look at removing them or reverting any of those changes back. One of the more important things that you can do is install some sort of malware protection software and give that computer a full scan. Installing Moonlock, running a full scan across that computer will identify any malware that may have been installed on that computer. If you suspect something has been affected, go and change your passwords as well. Because if you have been compromised, then somebody may have those details. And then it's not just the device passwords, because if somebody has compromised your device, they may have gotten access to all of the passwords or saved passwords on your browser or even inside the passwords app. Anything that may be susceptible to these attacks, it's always good practice to update those credentials. And then if you have detected something malicious on that port, on the cable, wherever it is that you may be, go and tell somebody, right? If you're in an airport, if you're in a shopping center, go and tell somebody responsible that, hey, I think that port is actually compromised because when I plugged it in, this thing happened. So then you can protect the next person that's going to be unsuspecting so that they also do not get compromised. Remember that you need to also protect your Mac all the time from malware, right? So that's where Moonlock comes in. We've talked about it a little bit. You can go and grab it, download it completely for free. Try it out. You've got nothing to lose. 7 days, you can try it completely for free. And then if you love it, you can go use that YouTube 10 code at checkout to get yourself a 10% discount so that you can continue using it. It's a great piece of software and it's going to give you the comfort that your Mac is safe. Thanks again for tuning in. Love it if you followed along. Click on the subscription button, click on the bell. You are notified that way of any new videos that we are releasing. Let us know down below in the comments what you thought. Thanks so much for tuning in and we'll see you on the next video.